A Lexus LS 400 crossed 1 million miles on its original engine. The mechanic who owned it was asked why he never upgraded. He looked at the journalist like he'd been asked why he still breathes oxygen. That engine was balanced with champagne glasses on the valve covers during development. They didn't spill. A variant was later FAA certified for aircraft, an engine trusted to keep people alive at 10,000 feet. 12 Lexus cars with engines so reliable mechanics refused to sell them. Let's count up. Number 12, Lexus ES 300, 1996 to 2003. The 1996 to 2003 Lexus ES 300 is the car that introduced millions of Americans to a simple concept that German manufacturers had spent decades trying to prevent anyone from discovering: luxury doesn't have to break. The ES 300 runs the 1MZF-E 3.0-liter V6. The same engine family that powered the Camry and Avalon during an era when Toyota was systematically perfecting its V6 architecture across millions of vehicles simultaneously. Every failure mode identified in a Camry was fixed before it ever reached the Lexus production line. The ES 300 didn't just inherit Camry reliability, it inherited a Camry that had already been debugged by 3 million other owners first. Mechanics who work on these cars describe a specific phenomenon. The ES 300 almost never appears in their shop for engine or transmission work. It appears for brakes, tires, and the occasional oxygen sensor, where items that every car on Earth eventually needs. The powertrain itself simply runs. One independent shop owner told an automotive forum that he'd worked on over 200 ES models across 2 decades and had never once replaced an engine or transmission. A statement so statistically improbable for any other luxury brand that it would be dismissed as exaggeration if the car wore a different badge. You can find clean ES 300s for $3,000 to $7,000. Less than some people spend on a single repair bill for a BMW of the same era. At that price, the ES 300 isn't just a good deal, and it's practically charity from the used car market. A Camry in a tuxedo, and mechanics say that's the highest compliment. The next Lexus carries an engine from the most famous sports car Toyota ever built. Number 11, Lexus IS 300, 2001 to 2005. The 2001 to 2005 Lexus IS 300 has a secret hiding under its hood that most luxury sedan buyers never discovered, and most sports car enthusiasts already know by heart: the 2JZGE 3.0-liter inline-six, a naturally aspirated member of the same engine family that powered the Toyota Supra, while the twin-turbocharged 2JZGTE in the Supra became the most famous tuner engine in automotive history. The naturally aspirated 2JZGE in the IS 300 quietly became one of the most reliable inline-six engines Toyota ever manufactured. All the legendary bottom-end strength, none of the turbo complexity, and the kind of silky smoothness that only an inline-six can deliver. The 2JZGE produces 215 horsepower through a cast-iron block, forged steel crankshaft, and the inherently balanced firing order that makes inline-six engines the smoothest configuration in internal combustion engineering. Mechanics who specialize in Toyota powertrains describe the 2JZ in terms that border on reverence. A motor that reaches 300,000 miles with nothing more than oil changes and a timing belt every 90,000 miles. The IS 300 itself was rear-wheel drive, offered with a 5-speed manual transmission, and drove with a precision that BMW 3 Series owners found genuinely surprising from a Lexus. You can find clean examples for $6,000 to $14,000, and prices have climbed steadily as 2JZ name recognition turns the IS 300 from a forgotten sedan into a collector piece. The tuner community calls it the Supra you can take to a business meeting. And they're not wrong. A Supra engine in a luxury sedan for $6,000. The next Lexus put the same V8 that launched the entire brand into a Grand Touring coupe. Number 10, Lexus SC 400. 1991 to 2000. The 1991 to 2000 Lexus SC 400 put the legendary 1UZF-E 4.0-liter V8, the same engine that launched the Lexus brand in the LS 400, into a sleek Grand Touring coupe that looked like it belonged in Monte Carlo and drove like it belonged on a racetrack. The SC 400 was Lexus's statement that reliability and excitement weren't mutually exclusive. You could have a V8 coupe that revved to 6,600 revolutions per minute, produced 250 horsepower, and sounded like liquid velvet at full throttle, all while inheriting the LS 400's documented ability to cross 500,000 miles without a major powertrain intervention. What makes the SC 400 specifically fascinating is its dual identity. In the Lexus world, it was the stylish coupe that wealthy professionals used as a weekend car. In the tuner world, the one UZF-E became one of the most popular V8 swap engines on Earth. Dropped into everything from Toyota pickups to drift cars to kit cars to actual aircraft, because the FAA approved a variant of the 1UZ for aviation use in 1997. An engine so reliable that the federal government certified it to keep people alive at 10,000 feet. One SC 400 owner on a Lexus forum documented 387,000 miles, with nothing replaced beyond alternator and water pump. A maintenance list shorter than most BMWs accumulate in their first 50,000 miles. You can find clean examples for $5,000 to $12,000. An FAA A-certified V8 in a Grand Touring coupe for $5,000. The next Lexus is the best-selling luxury SUV in American history, and the engine inside it costs less to maintain than a Honda Civic. Number 9, Lexus RX 350, 2004 to 2015. The Lexus RX, specifically the 2004 to 2009. RX 330 and 2007 to 2015 RX 350 is the single best-selling luxury SUV in American history, and the engine underneath is the reason half of America's doctors, lawyers, and real estate agents have one parked in their driveway. The RX 330 runs the 3 MZFE 3.3-liter V6, and the RX 350 runs the 2 GRFE 3.5-liter V6. Both members of Toyota's most mass-produced and obsessively refined V6 engine family, proven across millions of Camrys, Highlanders, Avalons, and Siennas before a single one ever reached a Lexus assembly line. RepairPal estimates the RX 350's average annual repair cost at $551, below the industry average for all vehicles combined, luxury or otherwise. That means a Lexus luxury SUV costs less to maintain per year than most economy cars selling at half its price. Mechanics describe the RX in terms that sound almost boring in their consistency. Oil changes, brake pads, tires, end of list. The RX never generates interesting shop stories because nothing interesting ever goes wrong with it. That's the entire point. You can find clean RX 350 examples for $8,000 to $20,000, and owners routinely report reaching 250,000 miles on nothing but scheduled maintenance. The RX is the automotive equivalent of a savings account. It's not exciting, it's not flashy, and it quietly outperforms everything that promised more. One mechanic described his relationship with the RX 350 as the most boring vehicle I've ever worked on. And I mean that as the highest compliment I can give. The best-selling luxury SUV with a $551 per year repair bill. The next Lexus is the fancy Camry that mechanics say is the smartest used car purchase in America. Number 8, Lexus ES 350, 2007 to 2018. The 2007 to 2018 Lexus ES 350 gets dismissed with the single most backhanded compliment in the automotive world. It's just a fancy Camry. Mechanics hear that phrase and respond the same way every time. Yes, that's the point. Now tell me the last time your BMW went 3 years without an unscheduled visit. The ES350 shares its platform, its engine, and its core mechanical components with the Toyota Camry, meaning it inherits the Camry's legendary parts availability, the Camry's maintenance costs, and the Camry's documented ability to reach 300,000 miles on oil changes and nothing else. The 2GRFE 3.5-liter V6 inside the ES350 is one of Toyota's most bulletproof engines. Smooth, responsive, and documented across millions of vehicles as virtually unkillable. No timing belt to replace. It runs a chain. No turbo to fail. It's naturally aspirated. No direct injection carbon buildup. It uses port injection. Every major failure point that makes modern luxury engines expensive has been engineered out of this powertrain by the simple act of not adding complexity in the first place. RepairPal estimates the annual cost at $551. You can find clean examples for $8,000 to $18,000. Genuine Lexus luxury with Camry reliability for less than a monthly payment on a new BMW 3 Series. The fact that it's boring is the feature. Boring means nothing breaks. And nothing breaking means the mechanic who owns one never has to work on his own car, which is exactly why he'll never sell it. The fancy Camry, mechanics say that's the best compliment. The next Lexus is the sport sedan that drives like a BMW, but lasts like a Toyota. Number 7, Lexus GS 350. 2006 to 2020. The 2006 to 2020 Lexus GS 350 is the sports sedan that Lexus built to fight the BMW 5 Series. Rear-wheel drive, sharp handling, a balanced chassis that automotive journalists called genuinely surprising. And the market forgot about it the moment Lexus discontinued it, because the BMW badge carried more weight at dinner parties than the Lexus badge ever could. That's the market's loss. The GS 350 carries the 2GR-FSE 3.5-liter V6 with direct injection, a higher output version of the same engine family that powers the ES 350 and Harfar X 350, producing 311 horsepower and delivering the kind of responsive power that makes highway merging feel like an event rather than a chore. The GS 350 sits in a unique market position. It's the only rear-wheel drive Lexus sedan with Toyota V6 reliability and genuine sports sedan driving dynamics. The ES is more comfortable but front-wheel drive. The IS is sportier but smaller. The GS splits the difference perfectly. Big enough to be comfortable, sharp enough to be engaging, and reliable enough that the engine will outlast the owner's interest in driving it. RepairPal estimates Lexus's average annual repair cost at $551, and the GS 350 specifically benefits from the mechanical simplicity that comes with a naturally aspirated V6 and a conventional automatic transmission. You can find clean examples for $10,000 to $22,000, a rear-wheel drive sports sedan with BMW dynamics and Camry repair costs. And the market is sleeping on it. A BMW fighter with Camry repair costs. The next Lexus is the sports sedan that enthusiasts actually want, and it carries the same bulletproof V6. Number 6, Lexus IS 350. 2006 to 2020. The 2006 to 2020 Lexus IS 350 is the compact sports sedan that Lexus built for the buyer who wanted BMW 3 Series driving dynamics without the BMW 3 Series repair bills, and who was willing to accept that nobody at a dinner party would ever be impressed by the badge in exchange for never having to visit the mechanic for anything beyond an oil change. The IS 350 runs the 2GR-F SE 3.5-liter V6, producing 306 horsepower, the same engine family proven across millions of Toyota vehicles, in a rear-wheel drive chassis with a limited slip differential, double wishbone front suspension, and multi-link rear that delivers the kind of balanced handling that BMW owners find genuinely threatening to their brand loyalty. The IS 350 is the Lexus that mechanics buy for themselves, not the RX. That's what they recommend to their customers' wives, not the ES. That's what they recommend to their retired parents. The IS 350 is the car they park behind the shop and drive home in, because it combines the one thing they care about professionally, an engine that never fails, with the one thing they care about personally, a car that's actually fun to drive after a 10-hour shift of fixing everyone else's. You can find clean examples for $10,000 to $22,000. And because BMW absorbs all the sports sedan attention in this price range, the IS 350 sits underpriced and overlooked, quietly being the car that the people who fix cars for a living choose to drive themselves. The Lexus that mechanics buy for themselves. The next one carries a Land Cruiser engine, and it was built for places where breakdown means danger. Number 5. Lexus GX47 2003 to 2009. The 2003 to 2009 Lexus GX47 is what happens when Toyota takes its most battle-tested truck engine, the 2UZ-FE 4.7-liter V8 that also powers the Land Cruiser 100 series and the Toyota 4Runner, wraps it in leather, adds a third row, and sells it to suburban families who have no idea they're driving a vehicle whose engine was originally designed to survive mining operations, humanitarian convoys, and actual war zones. The 2UZ-FE is a cast iron block timing Belta-driven V8 that Toyota built with the same philosophy they applied to the Land Cruiser. Nothing on it is allowed to fail because the people who depend on it might not survive the failure. The GX47 shares its body-on-frame chassis directly with the Toyota Land Cruiser. Prado sold internationally, a platform validated across millions of units in Australian outback dust, Scandinavian winter ice, and Middle Eastern desert heat. RepairPal estimates the GX's annual repair cost at $770, with just a 9% chance of a severe repair. Forum owners describe ownership in terms that sound less like car reviews and more like marriage vows. Built like a tank, the car you buy when you never want to think about repairs. I'll drive this until they bury me in it. You can find clean examples for $12,000 to $22,000. A Land Cruiser engine wrapped in Lexus luxury for the price of a Honda CR-V. The mechanics who service them know this, and that's exactly why they keep recommending them. A Land Cruiser engine in a luxury SUV. The next one carries the successor to that engine, and it's even harder to kill. Number 4. Lexus GX460 2010 to 2023. The 2010 to 2023 Lexus GX460 upgraded the formula by dropping in the 1UR-FE 4.6-liter V8, the next generation of Toyota's truck engine family, and adding a 6-speed automatic that smoothed out the highway experience while maintaining every ounce of the overbuilt durability that made the GX470 a mechanic's favorite. The 1UR-FE uses a timing chain instead of a belt, eliminating the single most expensive scheduled maintenance item on the 2UZ-FE and creating an engine that genuinely requires nothing beyond oil changes and fluid services for the first 200,000 miles of its life. C-Car's data gives the GX460A 19.9% chance of reaching 200,000 miles, almost unheard of for any vehicle, let alone a luxury SUV. And the probability of any given repair being severe is just 9% compared to 12% for the segment average. The GX460 is the SUV that mechanics recommend to anyone who asks, what should I buy if I want to never think about my car again? Because the answer to that question hasn't changed in 15 years and won't change for another 15. Behind the wheel, the GX drives like a luxury tank. High seating position, vault-like silence, and the specific kind of confidence that comes from knowing the vehicle underneath you was designed to cross deserts, not shopping mall parking lots. You can find clean examples for $18,000 to $38,000. A 200,000-mile V8 that requires nothing but oil changes. The next Lexus carries an even larger version of that engine, and it powered the Land Cruiser 100 across every continent on Earth. Number 3, Lexus LX 470 1998 to 2007. The 1998 to 2007 Lexus LX 470 is a Toyota Land Cruiser 100 series wearing a tuxedo. And just like the Land Cruiser, the engine underneath has been documented crossing continents, surviving mining operations, and outlasting the governments of the countries it was driven through. The 2UZ-FE 4.7-liter V8 is the same engine that powers the GX470, the Land Cruiser 100, the Toyota Tundra, and the Sequoia, a motor so overbuilt that independent mechanics describe it as Toyota's answer to the question, what if we built a V8 and never allowed it to fail under any circumstance? The LX47O was the vehicle that wealthy Middle Eastern families, African safari operators, and Australian outback ranchers chose when they wanted Land Cruiser durability without the Land Cruiser's Spartan interior. The engine, the chassis, the drivetrain, everything mechanical is identical between the LX470 and the Land Cruiser 100. The difference is leather, wood trim, and the kind of sound insulation that makes a V8 truck feel like a luxury sedan at highway speed. Used in LX47Os often sell for less than comparable Land Cruisers of the same year, making the LX the better value for buyers who want the legendary 2 UZ-FE wrapped in genuine luxury. You can find clean examples for $12,000 to $28,000, and the mechanic who sells you one will almost certainly try to buy it back within the year, because finding another one this clean gets harder every month. A Land Cruiser 100 in a tuxedo. The next Lexus carries the ultimate evolution of this engine family, and its reliability data is so extreme it almost looks like a manufacturing error. Number 2, Lexus LX57O, 2008 to 2021. The 2008 to 2021 Lexus LX57O carries the 3UR-FE 5.7-liter V8, the final and most powerful evolution of the engine family that began with the 1UZ-FE in the original LS400. And the reliability data surrounding this vehicle is so extreme that it reads like a clerical mistake rather than an engineering achievement. IC Cars gives the LX 570 an 8.5 out of 10 reliability rating, with an average lifespan of 187,169 miles and a 41.7% chance of reaching 200,000 miles, the highest percentage recorded for any luxury large SUV in their database of over 300 million vehicles analyzed. Car Complaints has 0 complaints on file for the 2008 through 2016 model years. 0. An entire 8-year production run without a single documented owner complaint severe enough to file. The 3UR-FE went through over 800,000 miles of factory durability testing before Toyota allowed it into production. 8 times the testing distance most manufacturers consider sufficient. RepairPal estimates the annual repair cost at $832, with a 9% chance of a severe repair compared to 14% for the segment. You can find examples for $35,000 to $75,000, and the LX typically sells for less than a comparable Land Cruiser 200, making it the better value for buyers who want the same legendary engine in a quieter package. 0 complaints, 8 years, a 41.7% chance of reaching 200,000 miles, an engine tested to 800,000. That's not reliability, that's mechanical perfection, delivered so consistently that the data looks like someone fabricated it to win an argument. 0 complaints across 8 production years. Only one Lexus engine is more legendary, and it started the entire brand. Number 1, Lexus LS 400, 1990 to 2000. The 1990 to 2000 Lexus LS 400 carries the engine that created the Lexus brand, humiliated Mercedes-Benz and BMW, and produced the most viral reliability story in automotive history. A car that crossed 1 million miles on its original engine internals, while the German competitors were visiting the mechanic every 15,000 miles. The 1UZ-FE 4.0-liter V8 is the product of $1 billion in development funding, 1,400 engineers, 2,300 technicians, 6 years of obsessive testing, and 900 prototype engines, undertaken by a company that had never built a luxury car and decided its first attempt had to be the best in the world. During development, Toyota engineers balanced the 1UZ-FE with champagne glasses sitting on the valve covers at idle, and they didn't spill. They tested prototypes across 1.67 million miles of real-world driving through Northern European ice and Saudi Arabian sand. They used 6-bolt main bearing caps, a configuration usually reserved for racing engines and heavy-duty diesels. The result was a V8, so smooth, so quiet, and so reliable that a variant was later approved by the FAA for use in aircraft, an engine so trustworthy that the federal government certified it to keep humans alive at altitude. Mechanics who own LS 400s don't sell them for the same reason. Surgeons don't throw away their best instruments, because nothing they could replace it with would perform as well. You can find clean examples for $4,000 to $15,000. $1 billion in development. Champagne glasses on the valve covers. FAA certified for aircraft. 1 million miles on original internals. The one UZFE didn't just create the Lexus brand, it created the most compelling argument against buying a German luxury car that the automotive industry has ever produced. 12 engines that mechanics refuse to sell. From a $3,000 ES 300 that never visits the shop to an LS 400 with an engine certified to fly, every car on this list was built by engineers who treated complexity as the enemy and reliability as religion. Which one are you keeping forever? Tell us in the comments. Subscribe. The next list covers the Lexus models to avoid.